Today, we're diving into one of the most critical moments in all of Greek mythology. It's the story of a single choice that literally brought the world of the gods crashing down into the world of mortals. This is the Judgment of Paris.
I mean, it sounds kind of ridiculous when you put it like that, right? A beauty contest leading to the complete destruction of a city. But that's the wild, high-stakes question at the very heart of this myth. And trust me, the answer is way more complicated and a whole lot more devastating than you'd ever think.
You know, just like a lot of epic disasters, this one kicks off with something small, something beautiful, and something that looks totally harmless. It's an object of desire that's about to become the catalyst for a 10-year war and the fall of one of the most legendary cities in history.
So, our story doesn't start on a battlefield. Nope, it starts at a party. A wedding, actually. We're at the marriage of a mortal king, Peleus, and a sea nymph named Thetis. It was supposed to be this amazing celebration, a union of the divine and the mortal. But somebody made one tiny, crucial mistake, and it was about to poison the whole thing.
Okay, so the setup for this whole catastrophe is actually pretty simple. The gods are having this huge wedding, but they make one critical error. They forget to invite Eris, the goddess of discord. Yeah, you can probably see where this is going. She's not happy. So for her revenge, she does something both petty and, completely brilliant. She just rolls a single golden apple into the middle of the party. This wasn't just a piece of fruit, it was a weapon, perfectly engineered to cause absolute chaos. And on the side of this apple were just 3 little words, "To the fairest." That's it. But those 3 words were more than enough to ignite the vanity and the rivalry of the most powerful goddesses on Mount Olympus. Who was the most beautiful? Suddenly, that question was officially and very, very dangerously on the table. And almost immediately, 3 of the heaviest hitters step up to claim the apple. First, you've got Hera, the majestic queen of the gods, wife of Zeus himself. Then there's Athena, the brilliant and formidable goddess of wisdom and war. And finally, Aphrodite, the absolutely irresistible goddess of love and beauty. Each one was convinced the apple belonged to her, and just like that, you've got a divine standoff.
Now, this argument created a massive problem for everyone else on Olympus. I mean, think about it. If you choose one goddess, you automatically tick off the other 2, and nobody, and I mean nobody, wants to be on the wrong side of that fight. This was a dilemma that needed an outsider, someone who could make the choice that all the gods were terrified to make.
And just to give you an idea of how serious this was, even Zeus, the king of the gods, the most powerful being in the entire cosmos, looked at this argument between his wife and 2 of his daughters and basically said, "Nope, I want no part of this." He wisely backed away, knowing there was literally no right answer, only unbelievably disastrous consequences.
So, what does Zeus do? He outsources the problem. He picks a mortal, a guy named Paris of Troy. Now, at this point in his life, Paris is living as a simple shepherd, completely unaware that he's actually a prince. He was chosen because he was known for being fair. He was literally plucked out of obscurity to settle an argument between gods. He was supposed to be the impartial judge, but he was about to become a pawn in a game he couldn't even begin to understand.
Of course, the 3 goddesses were not about to leave this decision up to chance. They show up in front of this young shepherd on Mount Ida, and what started as a beauty contest instantly turns into a bribery competition. Each one of them offers him a prize designed to tap into a core human desire.
So Hera goes first. She offers him power, complete rulership over all of Europe and Asia. Then Athena steps up. She offers him wisdom, unmatched skill in battle, guaranteeing he'd be a legendary hero. And finally, Aphrodite offers him love, the most beautiful mortal woman in the entire world as his wife. This was way more than just a bribe. It was a philosophical test. The choice was between being a king, a hero, or a lover.
So yeah, this wasn't about picking the prettiest goddess anymore, was it? This was a deep, philosophical choice. Paris was being asked to weigh the value of entire empires against battle-winning genius, and both of those against the raw, overwhelming pull of desire. The fate of the world literally rested on what this one young man valued most. Seriously, just stop and think about that for a second. What would you pick? What's the ultimate prize? Is it political power? Is it glory and strategic brilliance? Or is it a profound, all-consuming love? This myth forces every single one of us to ask that question. Each choice sounds amazing, but each one has its own hidden price tag.
For Paris, well, the pull of one of those promises was just too strong to ignore. He made his choice. a decision that would hand one goddess a massive victory and set the entire mortal world on a direct path to ruin. He chose beauty.
Paris handed the golden apple to Aphrodite, and in that one moment, he won her eternal gratitude, sure, but he also earned the eternal, white-hot hatred of two of the most powerful beings in the universe. Hera, Queen of Heaven, and Athena, the goddess of war, would never, ever forget this insult. From that moment on, the city of Troy was a marked target.
So what was this prize that was worth so much? Helen of Sparta. She was everything Aphrodite had promised, the most beautiful woman alive. But there was one tiny, critical detail that Aphrodite conveniently forgot to mention in her sales pitch. Helen was already married to Menelaus, the king of Sparta. Oops!
And this is where it all connects. It's terrifyingly clear. A little spat at a wedding and a shepherd's choice on a mountainside were about to become the direct cause of the most famous war in mythology. The Trojan War wasn't just a war for a woman, it was a war that started over a golden apple.
You can literally watch the dominoes fall. The choice leads to the promise. The promise has a massive complication. So to claim his prize, Paris goes to Sparta, and with Aphrodite's help, he abducts Helen, a huge violation of hospitality. That was the spark. The Greeks, who were bound by an oath to protect her marriage, and now fueled by the rage of the goddesses Hera and Athena, raised 1,000 ships to get her back.
And the war that came next wasn't some quick battle. It was a brutal, bloody, grinding conflict that lasted for 10 long years. A full decade of bloodshed, countless heroes lost on both sides, and eventually, the complete and total annihilation of the great city of Troy. All of it stemming from one single judgment, a whole civilization just erased. The symbolism here is just fascinating when you think about it. Aphrodite herself was born from violent sea foam, and she arrived on shore riding a seashell. So you can almost see the golden apple as another kind of vessel for her. Just as the shell delivered her into the world, the apple delivered her ultimate triumph over the other goddesses. It's this powerful idea that both her origin and her greatest victory are tied to these beautiful objects that come from and create total chaos.
So on a philosophical level, this whole story is a huge cautionary tale. Paris chose immediate, personal satisfaction, love, over the long-term stability that power could offer, or the glory that wisdom could bring. His decision really shows that kind of blindness that passion can cause, a complete failure to see beyond what you want right now to the catastrophic consequences down the road.
And in the end, this ancient myth serves up some warnings that are still incredibly relevant. It's about how flawed our own decision-making can be. It's about the massive danger of putting our own short-term desires first. And it's about the tragic reality that sometimes we mortals are just pawns caught in the crossfire of bigger games. But most of all, it's a timeless warning that choosing beauty above power or wisdom can lead directly to ruin. And that leaves us with one last, kind of haunting question. Paris chose love, and it led to total destruction. But would choosing Hera's power or Athena's wisdom really have been any better? Would a world ruled by one person or a world perfected by military strategy actually have been a utopia? The myth seems to suggest that in a contest started by the goddess of discord, maybe there's no such thing as a winning choice. Maybe there are only different roads to disaster. Something to think about.